just a few days away. We're going to be focusing on Black Kyurem and White Kyurem, doing a full breakdown of these Pokemon, a complete counter guide. We're even going to look at the rankings to see, are these Pokemon even worth rating? And lastly, we're going to discuss those brand new adventure effects coming with each Pokemon. Let's get straight into those details. Shh. Kicking off with the full breakdown. Black Kyurem and White Kyurem are the fused forms of Kyurem and Reshiram for White Kyurem and Kyurem with Zekrom for Black Kyurem. Both Black and White Kyurem have a max CP of 5206, which is huge. It has an attack stat of 310, which is currently one of the highest in Pokemon Go. Both share defense and stamina stats of 183 and 245 respectively. Because they are Dragon and Ice-type Pokemon, they both have the exact same weaknesses, which is going to be Dragon, Fairy, Fighting, Rock, and Steel. And because the weaknesses are the same, it's the same with resistances. They resist Electric, Grass, and Water. First up, let's look at Black Kyurem specifically in terms of its movesets. Its fast attacks are Shadow Claw and Dragon Tail, and its charged moves are Stone Edge, Blizzard, Iron Head, Outrage, Fusion Bolt, and Freeze Shock. As a combination, Dragon Tail and Freeze Shock are going to be the hardest hitting combination with a DPS of 23.5, which is insane, but their TDO is super impressive on this Pokemon, sitting just under 500. In the rankings, we're going to see how good Freeze Shock is in battles, but let's look at what it does outside of battles. In the last 2 days, Niantic have released the new features of what these new moves are going to be doing outside of battle. A big shout out to OP3687. They just posted this on Twitter, and have a look. This is what Freeze Shock is going to do for Black Kyurem outside of battle. It is going to keep the Pokemon still, if you like, freeze it, along with making it easier to catch, including connected devices. So something like your Pokemon Go Plus or Pokemon Go Plus Plus. This is huge because it's now easier to catch Pokemon through your devices as well, so more Pokemon in total. Moving on to White Kyurem now. As we said, in comparison to Black Kyurem, its max CP is the exact same, as well as its stats, but let's look at White Kyurem's moveset. In terms of fast attacks, it has access to Dragon Breath, Steel Wing, and Ice Fang. In charged moves, it has Blizzard, Ancient Power, Dragon Pulse, Focus Blast, Fusion Flare, which of course comes from that Reshiram, and Ice Burn. Technically, the best combination in terms of DPS is going to be Dragon Breath and Ice Burn, but the main moveset I want you guys to use is going to be Ice Fang and Ice Burn. As we'll see in the rankings just now, it makes a massive difference in the Ice type category, which we will show you. And if we look at Ice Burn outside of battle, it's going to cost 5,000 Stardust, as well as 5 candy per 6-minute increment, which means, and if you look at the screen right now, what Ice Burn does is that it slows down the ring and makes it easier to land excellent throws, which is a welcome change in the game. Speaking of adventure effects, there are now 3 new adventure effects in Pokemon Go, which really shows how quickly this game is developing. Also, it is rumored that Niantic is going to be selling Pokemon Go for about $3.5 billion. That really shows how the game is developed. Starting off with Black Kyurem and White Kyurem, bear in mind, because these Pokemon share the exact same types, the convenient thing for us is that they are going to share the same counters, but before we begin, we want you guys to focus on the counters that specifically surround Dragon Pokemon. The reason why is that you actually want to Mega Evolve a Dragon type to take on these raids so you can accumulate more candy as well as XL candy because of that Mega Evolution bonus. Very, very important. The best Mega you could use is going to be Mega Rayquaza with the Dragon Tail and Breaking Swipe because of that Dragon damage output. The best Shadows you could use are going to be Shadow Palkia with Dragon Tail and Draco Meteor. You could use Shadow Dialga with Metal Claw and Draco Meteor, Shadow Metagross with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash, and even Shadow Conkeldurr with Counter and Dynamic Punch. On the budget side, you could use Garchomp with Dragon Tail and Outrage. You could use Gardevoir with Charm and Dazzling Gleam. You could use Metagross with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash, and an honorable mention for something like Haxorus with Dragon Tail and Breaking Swipe. Now that you've defeated Black Kyurem and White Kyurem, remember that once they defuse, you're gonna get awarded an encounter with Kyurem. That 100% IV in non-weather boosted weather is gonna be 2042, and the weather boosted 100% IV in windy and snowy weather is gonna be 2553. Pay attention for that. The big question remains though, is Black Kyurem and White Kyurem even worth rating? How good even are these Pokemon? Well, let's look at the rankings. In the Dragon type raid category, for example, Black Kyurem is going to currently take the 4th spot with that Dragon Tail and Outrage combination, which is very, very impressive, coming straight into that spot. And on the White Kyurem side, it's going to go down to 15th because of that Dragon Breath and Dragon Pulse combination, but still a pretty strong start. In the Electric type category, if we look at Black Kyurem specifically, it's going to currently take the 12th spot with Dragon Tail and Fusion Bolt. Remember, that comes from Zekrom originally. But this is where things really turn up a notch. In the Ice type category, both these Pokemon go straight to the top to take the number 1 and 2 spot. Number 1 is going to be the White Kyurem with that Ice Fang and Ice Burn combination because it's double Ice type as opposed to the Black Kyurem with that Dragon Tail. Just look at that DPS though, 21.46 with a TDO of 454 and an overall score of 41.5. If we look at the Black Kyurem, like we said, because of that Dragon Tail, probably takes the 2nd spot. That DPS just hovers over 19 with a TDO of 403, so both of them are over 400 and just over 35 for that ER score. But all of these are numbers, and I just want to put this into one example. If you look at the 3rd or 4th spot, you could see Shadow Mamoswine there with that Powder Snow and Avalanche combination. Up until now, this Pokemon was widely regarded, especially as a relatively budget Pokemon, even though it was a Shadow, it was pretty widely available. This Pokemon would be a premier Ice type attacker. But now that these two have come into the mix, you can look, and if you do the maths, White Kyurem is 25% better than Shadow Mamoswine. That tells us everything we need to know, and it's just blown everything out of proportion in this particular category. I don't think there will be another Pokemon that beats these out in this category for the foreseeable future. If we look at the Go Battle League, these Pokemon are really going to feature in the Master League. Unfortunately, the game data hasn't been uploaded yet, so we can't actually see the rankings. So bear in mind that White Kyurem or Black Kyurem could have some serious play in the Master League as well when they do become available to you. So overall, are these Pokemon worth rating? 1000%. From the adventure effects, just a quick tip I want to throw in here, guys. I want you guys to really use that Ice Burn feature when going into raids. Because the ring is going to be slowing down, as we're showing you on screen again here, guys, pair this with a Nana Berry. So when you catch something like an Yveltal that flies all over the screen, it's going to keep it still, but it's also going to keep that ring nice and slow so you can land that excellent throw, which gives you more of a chance to catch. I think that's huge. And if you swing over to the power side of White Kyurem and Black Kyurem, as we've just explained in the rankings, they are monstrous. Guys, we're going to leave it there. If you want to check out these 8 vital things going into Unova Tour, please check it out. We discuss how to fuse these Pokemon and everything else you would need to know. Check it out. Go with us, enjoy, and we'll catch you in the next one, baby. Shh.